Alright, so we are in the car. Gonna go do all that stuff. Yeah, so let's go. Maybe I'll do like a little chat while we drive. Why not? Let's do a little life update, little what's going on, what's coming, all that stuff. Yeah, let's do that. Just gonna make sure you guys ain't gonna fly away on me. I think we're okay. But the real way we'll find out is when I start driving. So we're in my car, obviously. I told you guys yesterday that I had my therapy or my counseling. And I think it went really well. It just put into perspective things that I already kind of knew, things that I was like thinking that were just in the back of my mind that I needed kind of confirmation on. But basically, COVID has definitely had a huge impact on my social anxiety, just my anxiety in general, because basically when you have social anxiety, it means that any social thing is very anxious to you. And with COVID, with all the regulations and stuff, you were told to stay home, don't see people, and it's adding fuel to that fire that I already have, that is my anxiety, because I already have this fear of like people, and this fear of socializing, and this fear of communicating with new things. So with COVID, it is aiding to that, and it is just giving me a reason not to do the things that normally we have to do, like going to work and stuff. With COVID, my work was shut down, so I was getting like COVID benefits and all that, and I still am. So in my mind, it's like, why am I still working then if I'm getting these benefits because of COVID, because my work's shutting down? Why am I working at all? So that aided to it. So that is why I was so anxious going to work. It's like, why am I here? Why am I putting myself in this position where I don't need to be? And then same with like going out and stuff. Like I used to go out every weekend. I used to be around so many new people, and I started getting, my social anxiety got better because I was doing all that stuff, and because I was I showed myself that it was okay to be around all those people and to socialize, and that there was nothing wrong, and I was safe, and there was nothing that was going to happen to me. I know alcohol had a huge factor in that when I went out, because I would go to clubs. So that's like the only really thing I went out. And last year, or at the very end of 2019, is when I started being able to do things on my own, being independently, and it was huge successes that I was doing, because I couldn't go anywhere by myself. I couldn't go to the grocery store. I couldn't go get gas by myself. Like, I couldn't do anything that a normal person should be able to do on their own. And with that, it was just weird. Like, all these things that I should be able to do well on my own, like a normal person can do on their own, I couldn't. And it was very frustrating because I felt so isolated at home. This was when I was living with my parents still. I felt so isolated at home because I could never, I felt like I was missing out on pretty much my life. And then, I don't know, it was like one day, all of a sudden I had this urge, and I'm like, I can do this on my own. I'm gonna do this on my own. And so I went and did it on my own, and it was like rewarding. Like, I had this huge sigh of relief, and I'm like, I just did that. Like, how did I just do that? And then from there on, it was like little steps that I was taking, and it was allowing me to do more and more on my own. And it got to a point where I could do pretty much anything on my own. Like, there was no restrictions. Like, obviously there's things that people don't like doing on their own in general, like going places that are far away on your own. Like, what's the point? You like to go with people and have that time with people. So it was very weird because it was something very new to me that I was able to do all these things on my own. And now I'm at this point where I am back to where I started, and it feels like it's worse. I'm back to, it's very hard for me to do anything on my own because of COVID. Because with COVID, you were told not to go anywhere. You were told not to see anybody. You can't do your normal normal routines and your normal activities. And with the first closure, I'm in BC, so we've only had one full closure, and it wasn't even like full closure, but we were locked down for about 3 months, and that means I didn't have school, I didn't have work, I had nothing. And I used that time, and I was still doing independent things, or trying to. And then as the time went on, I started stopping to doing those things, and I would just be very isolated. I would just be at my parents' house. Again, this is still while I was at my parents' house. Or I was at like my boyfriend's house, and we never went anywhere because it got to the point where going somewhere was like scary and you weren't allowed. And that is where it started. It started with, I can't do all these things. And then with summer came, and things lifted a little bit, and summer's the time where you want to do all these fun things and be creative and do all these plans and whatnot. And so in the summer I was doing things like we went away, we did some camping, we went out, and you could just spend more time outside. And then I noticed in like fall and winter is when things got a little bit worse for me, because the weather wasn't as nice, you couldn't go out, there wasn't as many outdoor activities you could do, because outdoor activities are still kind of allowed, and there just wasn't a lot of things to do. So that means days in a row I would just be at home, or I'd go to work, or I'd go to school because I was still in school then. And so I still had those routines, and I was still seeing lots of different people, socializing, because I was like almost forced to socialize. And then it slowly got kind of worse, and it got worse when I graduated from school. So then that whole social aspect of school, all my teachers, all my like co-students or whatever, all my clients and stuff, all of those like the social aspects were gone. So then that took away, I was in school Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, so those were 3 days that I'm normally out there socializing and kind of helping myself, that there was nothing happening, there was nothing going on. And so those were 3 extra days where I did not leave the apartment, I did not do anything. And then slowly that started growing on me, that the more time I spent alone, the more that I was losing my ability to go out. I started getting very anxious trying to go to work, because I wouldn't work as much just with COVID. Like hours were not the same because we were still open, shorter days and shorter times. And then so COVID came, and with COVID, or not with COVID, with having all this extra free time, it just, things were not going very well. I definitely felt the change as soon as I finished school, because I finished school and I took some time off of work as well to give myself like a full break, a full reset. And that reset that I was supposed to have was supposed to help me like reset myself and be so ready to go start working full time, find a salon to work in. And it did the complete opposite. That time that I had that I isolated myself made me want to isolate even more, and it ended up making me very anxious, and anytime I would go out, I would get so nauseous, and I would feel like I was almost dying inside, because it felt like I was having a heart attack. Like, it was not a fun experience, and that's what my anxiety attacks are. They're me feeling super, super nauseous, and then like I get like blurry vision, and I feel like I'm dying essentially, like almost like a heart attack. I know it's not, it's just my anxiety. And right now I don't know how to get past that. I do not know how to fix it. So that is why I have now started taking medication, I've started seeing a therapist, and I've set little goals for myself to get out. I need to try to do some more socializing. I need to get back to work. There is so many things that I need to be doing, and my anxiety is stopping me from doing that. So I know I've been rambling like this whole drive, and I haven't even really been paying attention. I've literally just been talking and driving. But I probably repeated myself a million times, whatever. But essentially, anxiety is something that cannot just be looked past and laughed at, and it's like, oh, you have anxiety, oh well, get over it. Because for me, I have aided myself so much this last couple, like month and a half, that I am not able to do anything anymore. I am so stuck in my own little like world, that little things that shouldn't bother me have been bothering me. Like right now, I am driving to my parents' house and driving to pick up a prescription, and I'm getting super anxious right now because I have to go to a store by myself, and I've done this millions of times. This is a store I go to like often, and I am like, I'm getting nauseous, I'm getting sweaty, and I don't like it, but I have to, and I will do it. I just get super, super nauseous, and it's like, what is happening? It's just, it's been a lot, but we are working, and we are thriving, and we're gonna do this. So, I'm here now, so I'm just about to park, and, yeah. So, I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna go pick up my prescription. I'm getting very anxious, but I will get through it. I'm just gonna sit here for a minute, I'm just gonna breathe, I'm gonna take a sip of water, and I'm just gonna go. Yeah.